Let's set the table for today's video because this is something that has impacted every single one of us at some point in the Madden season. You start a game off, your opponent very clearly has no idea how to block a blitz. You're screaming all game long, and then suddenly it just falls apart on you. It doesn't feel like the blitz works any longer, and you're kind of left wondering why. And to be honest, there's several reasons as to why it could be, but today I'm going to go through the biggest mistake players make when they are blitzing in this game, and the problem is they're not really identifying the true cause for this. They'll maybe switch up one thing, but it's not the real thing. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run this blitz several more times in a row. We'll probably see, you know, a pretty decent success rate. This is a very popular blitz in the community that a lot of players run. And, you know, it does a good job of coming in. We'll run it several times here. So we're 2 for 2. We are 3 for 3. And again. And again. And finally, it gets stopped. And you think to yourself, okay, that was fluke. Let's go ahead and run it again. That can't be. They did nothing differently. We snap it again, and wow, this blitz all of a sudden stopped working. Well, the reason for that is actually a lot more simple than you would think. What most players tend to do is they go in and they think, all right, well, resistance. It's got to be resistance. So what they do is they swap out their player. Maybe they sub in a brand new looper. And then you snap the ball again and you notice that that also got picked up. Well, that can't be because that's a brand new looping blitzer. How did they know what to do? Well, first off, make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Zan Madden YouTube channel. We're breaking down the nuance of Madden to keep you guys on top of the game, talking about things a lot of players refuse to talk about, don't mention to you when they break it down in their channels or their game plans, and helping you get better truly at the game for free. Now, if this isn't enough and you guys want the full story, I would recommend that you guys go over to gridirongameplans.gg, where we have been setting and countering the meta for this game all season long. If you guys like this 3-2 defense, you guys want to run it, keep your pressures humming all game long, left hash, right hash, gap blitzes, all kinds of stuff that you guys are going to be able to stay on your opponent's necks. Make sure you guys go check it out. $9.95 a month unlocks the entire website. That's my offense, my defense, over 75 vault tips. You guys can package college football on top of that for a low cost. So make sure you guys hop in our Discord. We have free lab sessions in there every single Wednesday for our members. No additional cost. Go check it out. Say hello. Now let's get into why this is a problem. So the reason, believe it or not, is not actually that it's this player that's causing the pickup. Believe it or not, the looper isn't the problem. The issue is that it's actually your defensive line that are freeing up your loopers. So we've run that play 5-6 times in a row, and eventually the offensive line gets a resistance to all the players. Now, you wouldn't think necessarily that this is a situation where it's really about the pass-off logic, but that's really what it is. So in our previous examples, those early snaps, number 51 in white was getting into the right tackle and the right guard and making them hold their block. But the offensive line has developed resistance to a point where they can come off of the double team block, pass it off, and receive the twist or the looping stunt from this defense in a way that allows them to pick this up with no changes at the line of scrimmage. That is why so many blitzes over the years feel like they're worse in the third and the fourth quarters. Now, there are a couple ways that you guys can actually get around this. So I'm going to call the exact same play on offense. I'm going to call the exact same play on defense, but in fact, I'm going to go back to Kyle Hamilton. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in completely different bodies at all 3 positions. Now, if you guys don't have a deep bench, that's okay. You can flip-flop players, meaning you maybe take your right of screen defensive end, move him to defensive tackle. Take your defensive tackle, move him to the left of end edge. Take your left of end edge and put him all the way on the other side at the 3rd position. And you could just rotate. You'll be able to, in fact, get basically 3 rotations out of this before you need to dip into your bench. But if you guys do have quite a few players on your bench, just go in and sub in new players. It's a lot easier this way. So I put in Herbig, Fisk, and Jason Taylor here on this blitz. Now we're going to call the exact same thing. Now what you're going to notice is when we go ahead and we cycle through the resistance, no resistance on Herbig. This is evident by looking underneath the offensive tackle's feet. You see those little shadow arcs, no lines inside. Take a look here, Fisk. He's got fresh resistance to the offensive lineman near here. And you also see there with Jason Taylor, the same deal here. Now, as it pertains to Hamilton, he was picked up one time on this blitz, so he does have a bar of resistance against the right guard. But the funny part is, due to the fact that we have a fresh front three in front of this looping pressure, when you actually snap this ball, we are right back to the loop blitz working again, and it's with the same player that we were screaming with the entire time. So let's go ahead and put that back to a little bit of a test here. We snap the ball. Oh, look at that. He loops around. And again. And again. And again. And finally, after about 4 reps, we see that the blitz is picked up. So what do? We go back into our play call menu and we shuffle our players again. So this time we're going to put Clowney here. We're going to go ahead and put in a new nose tackle. I'll put in Wyatt. And I'll put Will Anderson over here. Now, I think you guys kind of understand the assignment here. We take a look at the resistance, nothing, nothing, and nothing. And right here, a little bit of resistance to Hamilton, but he's not the culprit. So now we snap the football and you see we're right back to looping, easy pressure once again. So the reason for this is not the resistance against your looper. It's actually the resistance of the people that are freeing up your looper. Again, we've talked about just shuffling new bodies in. Believe it or not, if you guys are too lazy to make this happen, I want to introduce you guys to a player in the game that you guys can utilize that will make this a lot easier on you. 88 overall, Redux or limited edition, Mark Gastineau. And if you take a look at his X factors, if you go over to this lightning bolt logo, this is the AKA Blitz X factor. And this is a X factor that starts on and it stays on for a couple of plays. And when it is lit up, it wipes the resistance completely clean for all offensive linemen in the game against all defenders that are on the field. So what this will allow you to do is keep Gastineau on the field. You could basically keep your players in position. He'll have this X factor that'll be on for a few plays and then it'll be off. When it's off, this allows for the offensive line to gain resistance, but remember, they're starting with no resistance. So you'll have the blitz working for several plays with this logo on, it'll turn off. But again, they're at 0. So it'll work for a few more plays. Then eventually the resistance on the offensive line will be keen to the loop blitz. They'll be able to pick it up. And then what do you know? A few plays later, Mark Gastineau will turn back on. His lightning bolt lights up. The resistance is wiped and you're right back to square one. So this will be a way where you don't have to worry about, okay, I'm cycling my players every single play. It does cost 1 AP and an X factor slot on your team, but right now the going rate for pick artists is 2 AP. So a lot of players have 2 pick artists on their field and they have 1 leftover AP point. This is a great use for that single AP point because it just allows you to have your blitzes stay working a little bit better. Now, this is one example of a blitz that is impacted by your resistance of your front three. If you really have any looping pressures that you rely on, A gap loops, edge loops, B gap loops, this is the reason that they work for a few snaps and they stop working. So pay attention to your front 4, your front 3, and whatever pressure you're bringing, cycle them routinely, or use this Blitz X factor and you'll be screaming all game long. If you guys liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, check out Gridiron Game Plans, best place to get better at Madden, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.